Hello everybody, it's Andrea, and I'm just going to be talking about what I read in May, so just kind of a May wrap-up. I read 4 books, I believe, which I have been really slugging it with reading this year. I have my phone out so I can look at my Goodreads. So my reading challenge this year is supposed to be for 75 books. So I'm 21% of the way there. I am at 16 books. According to Goodreads, I'm 16 books behind schedule. And there are 2 reasons why I think I'm so far behind. One of the reasons, get comfortable. One of the reasons is because I keep picking up huge books. I mean, you'll see with some of these, there are some bigger books that I read like in the past, but I still keep picking up some pretty big books, so that isn't helping me like get through anything. And the other reason is because I just haven't felt like reading. Like, this is one of my current reads. I've been trying to read like one book at a time to see if that might help, and this is just a Fear Street R.L. Stine book. You'll see later I can finish these in a day, and I'm only halfway there. I've had this for 3 days. So I haven't been feeling like reading. I got the new Animal Crossing New Horizons game, so that isn't helping with anything. Senior year is wrapping up. I've just been feeling lazy in general. Today is a parade for my graduation, which is why I have my beautiful beads on. And yeah, so that's just kind of a life update in case you do not watch my other videos, and I just kind of haven't given one in a while. So I hope you enjoy this video, and I'll do a wrap up at the end for the video, for the May wrap up video. So the first book that I finished because apparently I started it March 2nd. The first book I finished in May was The Help by Kathryn Stockett, which I have talked about a few times. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, which now I would probably say like 4.5. There are some flaws in it that I can recognize, but basically this is a book that takes place in 1962, Jackson, Mississippi, about this, there's a ton of characters, but it's basically about this girl named Skeeter, and she's a writer, and she wants to write like a book on the African American help and their stories, and really share their stories with the world. So that's like the basis of the book. You get to see, you follow the point of view of 3 people, Skeeter, who's here, Aibileen, and Minnie. I really like this book. I thought the message was really nice. I'm a big historical fiction fan, honestly, so I did really like kind of going back in time a little bit. It is a fiction story. It is not based on anything. It was really nice. I liked it. I liked all the characters. I have my favorites. It was just really charming. It had its funny moments. It made me cry. I highly recommend it. I just watched the movie last night. Also highly recommend that if you don't like to read, which I don't know why you'd be watching this video, but if you don't like to read, the movie is really good, or you don't want to read this big book. The movie is really good. It kind of missed a couple of points. It kind of missed a couple of plot things that I thought were important, and put in a couple things that I thought weren't important, but you know how movies are. So I really like this. Highly recommend it. There were a couple there were a couple small flaws in it that I won't really go over. It's not worth going over. But, you know, if you've ever read this, maybe you know what I'm talking about, maybe you don't. Like I said, not worth really going over, but I recommend that you guys pick this up. The next book that I read was, it's allergy season. Okay, the next book that I read was Christine by Stephen King, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, which, again, I think is pretty, I like how I said that. I did actually write a little bit on here, so let's see. I'm going to read it because basically it's still how I feel. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this book as much as I did. I feel like for me, Stephen King is either hit or miss movie-wise, and I haven't read a lot of his books. This is the 3rd book, I think, that I've read of his. So, you know, all of his books I really have liked so far. I actually, I was a little bit scared of this book for a while, this book scared me is what I'm trying to spit out here. You know, I was wary around cars for a little bit, and it was so funny because it's more of a thriller. It's not even like that big of a horror book to me. Like, I definitely think that Stephen King, he's the king of horror, but I also think that a lot of his books are more thriller. from what I've read anyways. I've read Cujo, Carrie, and now Christine, just keeping up with the C's. I was actually a little bit scared for a while. I thought that the writing was decent. I thought the characters were actually likable. A lot of times in horror movies, at least, I'm a huge horror movie fan. And even in a couple of his other books, the other couple books that I read, I didn't love the characters. Like, I wasn't rooting for them. I didn't care. But this book just really, I loved the characters. They were really amazing. I found the story to be unique and refreshing. If you're a horror fan, you know what I mean. Like, the same 3 plot lines get used over and over again. And so seeing a horror story about a car was a little bit refreshing, other than zombies and ghosts and, you know, the same 4 things. I just really liked it. And this is a lot better than the movie. I don't know why I closed Goodreads altogether. Okay. This is just so much better than the movie. I watched the movie like maybe a few days after I finished the book, and I hated it. I think on Letterboxd, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically like Goodreads but for movies. And it's so bad. I think I gave it like a 2-star or something like that. It had a couple of good moments, but it was nothing compared to the book. I really recommend this. It is kind of long. The print is small in my book, so you kind of can get a feel for how long it is. But once you get past the beginning and like the mundane type of things, it's really, really good. And I can't recommend this one enough. So, the second to last book that I read, I do have a full review on, so I will link that down below, because I'm not gonna like give a whole review on Emergency. Yo, you can't even see it. I'm not gonna give a whole review on it when I already have. I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. I borrowed this from a cousin, along with The Nightingale, which I'll pick up soon. And I had wanted to read this for a while. I had heard a ton of mixed reviews on it, and I didn't like it. I borderline hated it. It's basically about, it follows these 2 people. We have Penny and Sam. And Penny is just graduating from high school. She's a freshman in college. And Sam is a few years older and works in a coffee shop and has like, they both have like their own past, but he has more of a rocky past than she does, I guess, if we're going to be comparing things. And they meet and they are together, and then there's like 10,000 side characters and all of that fun stuff. I believe this is technically YA contemporary would be the word to use for it. A romance. Do books even tell you anymore? They used to tell you sometimes, like, what it actually is. Okay, I'd probably say this is either a contemporary or a romance. I'm not really sure 100% what the definition of a contemporary is, but I think I have an idea of what it is. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people like this book. I personally didn't, but again, I'll just leave my review down below so you can check that out for yourself and really get a good feel for this. There are some spoilers in it, but I'm sure there probably are some that don't have spoilers. That was English. Okay, so the last book that I read in a day, and that is, I don't have the book with me because it's at my grandma's house because I keep all my R.L. Stine books there. The Surprise Party. It is an R.L. Stine Fear Street book. It's actually the second Fear Street book that he wrote, and I really liked it, honestly. I mean, if you've watched my book videos before, you know I'm a big R.L. Stine person. I grew up watching and reading Goosebumps. I grew up reading the Fear Street books, and now I'm just rereading some, finding new ones. Obviously, I am reading one now that's taken me a little bit longer, which I think part of that is because it's the third in a series and I didn't read the first 2. I don't own the first 2, and it's kind of hard to find these books, so. Anyways, I read The Surprise Party, which has so many twists and turns at the end, but basically, it's about this group of kids, which Fear Street books typically are. It's about a group of kids, and there was like this horrific murder last year, and one of the friends had moved away because it was her boyfriend who got killed, so she moved away and she's coming back in town. So the other friend wants to throw a surprise party and keeps getting threatening messages that you shouldn't have that surprise party, and then the surprise party goes horribly wrong. There's about 20,000 twists and turns that I thought were good. Like, it was a little bit ridiculous, but it was good. I always take R.L. Stine's work with a grain of salt. I finished it in a day. I'm a little biased because I said that I really like R.L. Stine, so typically I will always like his books. And I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because it was enjoyable. It wasn't the best book that I've ever read, but it was definitely an enjoyable read. That's all I read in May. I don't even think I've read anything in June yet, which is fine. Just because it's only the 5th, I think, so realistically I don't need to, but I'm hoping to finish this today and hoping to pick up a lot more books in June. I was reading Frankenstein and I haven't been able to get through that either. So, I thank you guys so much for watching. All my social media is linked down below. I also do tarot readings now, like pick-a-piles if you've noticed on my channel. Or if you did notice, like if you went through my channel, click on this video. So on a lot of those socials, it's more of that now. But I do still try to post some bookish content, or am trying to post some more bookish content. What is on my necklace? That's weird. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. We're gonna put this over here. So, I have a Snapchat, I have an Instagram, I have Twitter, I have Tumblr, and I have a Goodreads account, which I'll link all below. Like I said, I'll link the emergency contact review down for you. Link the emergency contact review down below for you is what I'm trying to say. And I will see y'all next Sunday with another video, hopefully. Okay, bye. I never know how to end these things.